3,000 aircraft were to lay a carpet of high explosives in a corridor just 5 miles wide.
I've never experienced war, but I recently had the chance to talk to somebody who has. In our church family, we have a veteran named Frank Paliga, and today we have the honor to hear part of his story.
I wasn't scared, and neither is the whole crew scared, because we had a lot of practicing, you know, and so it's just another job. And when you got into the fighting, though, you didn't think anything but you knock the guy down. You could see the white smoke coming out of their guns. When it's hit, you'd see a lot of stuff falling out the plane. When we got hit, I looked out, and there's an engine on fire. The first, number 3 is on fire. Number 2 is on fire. I was up in the top turret, and I had my top turret glass around me. It was blown off. Half of it was shot off. And we couldn't just get out and run out and bail out. You had to have a bell that rings. So the radio operator, he was sitting right here. I was sitting in the turret. And when the bell rang, well, he hit me in the leg here, and he got my chute up and handed it to me, and then he went into the Bombay. And when I got to Bombay, I had my chest back on already, and I was ready to jump out. When I saw him there in the Bombay, this tank was on fire. These 2 tanks were on fire, the 400-gallon tanks, and the thing was going woof, woof, woof inside the plane like that. And here he was, he's pulled right up against the fire. And so I tried to pull him out of there, and then lift him up so he'd get out of there, but I couldn't do it. I was out of oxygen. So I just couldn't handle it, so I just jumped out of the plane. I started going down. Here comes Messerschmitt right against me, right to me. He had this coming right out. I thought he was going to hit me. I prayed. I said, God, I said, don't let him get me here, you know. And when he come close to me, he banked away, you know. And then the second one come, and he did the same thing. I saw a whole bunch of people down there working in digging potatoes or doing something like that. I saw that they had 3 or 4 guards with them, and I saw they'd seen me, and then there's some trees over here, and I pulled down the cord, the ripcord, the cords on the chute, pulled this way, and it let the air out that way, and the chute went that way right to the trees. And I got over to the trees, and there was about that much leaves on the ground, so I got under there, and I laid on my back, and I covered myself up, and saw a rabbit going up the hill there, and I heard, first I heard the dog bark, you know. Yeah, I thought, well, they got a dog, and they'll find me now. And so I looked out, and there was a rabbit going up the hill, and the dog was chasing him. And then here was a guard. I could hear him talking. There was my head right here, and my body was over there. I said another prayer, and then so they went away, and I looked at my watch, and it was about 15 minutes after 12, noon, and those guys were kicking around there for another 2 hours, and they left the place, and it started getting dark, and the leaves softened, and I could walk, and that was but I thought, well, maybe they're just trying to fool me that they're leaving. And so I said, well, I've been here for 6 hours laying on my back, and I can't stand it anymore, but I'm going to wait here another hour. And so about toward 45 minutes, somebody sneezed or something, and then all the other guys was giving them heck, you know, for sneezing, giving them away. So, and then I finally heard them talk and going away, and I waited another hour. I got up on going up the hill. So I saw a little farm place there down below, And so I thought, well, I don't see any other places here that they're out here in the country. So I thought, well, I'm going to go down there and see if I can get something to eat. Well, I got in the house, and those people were as nice to me as good friends. Then here comes a guy in the house, and the guy that went down to get him, and he was an officer, and he had a gun. He pointed the gun at me, and they put me in there in a cooler, and they interrogated me the next day, or 3 days later, and then they gave me something to eat and put me on a bus with a guard, and they took me to the place I ended up in Stalag 17. Yeah. And everything's just fine except for the food. They got a couple of guys that were trying to sneak out, and they had wire cutters, and they found them cutting through the fence, and so they just shot them both, you know. The Russians were coming towards us, and the Germans didn't want us to be taken by the Russians, you know, and then join the Russians. And so they marched us on march. We were 4 abreast, and there's a guard on this side and a guard on this side. They were 100 feet apart. We were going up this mountain, and there was a switchback right there. And I noticed there was a culvert down there about 4 feet high, and this icy water was coming. There's ice up in the mountains there. Isaac, I says, if we see another one of those, let's jump. I'll look at this guy that's looking ahead, and we're going this way, and if he's looking ahead, I'll say, okay. And you look at the guy behind, and he's looking back, and if we get 2 okays, let's jump. And so as soon as we hit this other one, we jumped down into the water and got under the culvert. We started going to the east. Everything that I did was because he helped me. You bet. And I give him thanks every night, Jeff. And after that, we were free again. You know, we could do anything we want. This country is worth fighting for.